Welcome back. You are listening to the Nrgy Speaks Life podcast. I'm Coach Nrgy, the self-mastery coach, speaker, mediator, and author. On this channel, we focus on personal development and self-improvement for those who want to achieve self-mastery. And throughout the show, you'll notice that we will be sharing tips, strategies, techniques, and all types of advice that you can take action on today. This week, my guest speaker is Todd Baker. He will be sharing his input and his perspective on areas of focusing and achieving life goals, mindset, and inspiration to living your best life. So thank you so much, Todd, for joining us. And please let us know a little bit about yourself as we are bringing you into our show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the introduction, and thanks for having me on Nrgy. It's certainly a pleasure. So I am a personal development coach, and long and short of it, I own a company. It's called Project 9 Life, and our focus is on helping people do what inspires them. And it's a big word of inspires versus motivates them, because your inspiration is inside of you. Your motivation is an external factor. I've got a few different coaching programs that we run and offer, and really it's about not the short time. This isn't a different way to set New Year's resolutions. This is actually a way to get away from New Year's resolutions and not just keep repeating the same thing over and over, but to have a different kind of framework of a lifetime versus a short time with your goals, finding your true why, like why it's important to you. What is it that motivates you? Not even motivates. What is it inspires you? Why is it, if it's a health goal, well, what's behind that? And going through the exercises, you may find that your inspiration has really nothing to do with your actual goal, but just this little thread. And this came about, 5-6 years ago. And it's basically the programs that I offer and kind of what I talk about. It's based on my story. So this was, 5-6 years ago. I did the same thing, looked in the mirror in January, thought, oh God, I got to change something here. So like most people, I was like, I got to lose weight. So 3 days in, the next day I wake up, I live in Denver, so it's cold, it's snowing, and I'm like, not going today. And that's how long it took me to give my New Year's resolution, 3 days. And instead of kind of just saying, next year's my year or whatever, I started thinking about like why it was truly that I needed to get healthy. And I started thinking of it long term. So I have 2 kids. My son is 18, my daughter's 16. And at the time I was thinking about like, I don't want to be the dad that is on the sidelines for them growing up and having all these activities. I want to be the dad that's like, if they want to go play catch, I can go with them. If we want to go hiking, or we want to go and just do something activity wise. I don't want to be the dad that like writes a check and says, here, go have fun. Like, I'm like, get in the car, let's go. And that's really what it came from. So by adopting that lifetime and finding that true inspiration to me, it allowed me to just like forget all the motivation, all the other stuff. And I just started walking every single day. And I adjusted my diet a little bit. I just cut out carbs and added sugars. But all I did was walk, and it just got longer and longer. I didn't start running. I didn't start going to the gym 3 hours a day. But over the course of a year, by just keeping consistent, I ended up losing 100 pounds. So, as I sit here right now, this is me, imagine me with another small human sitting here right now. So, but that's what it meant to me. And by also telling the people, if it's your inspiration is your kids or your family or whatever, by involving them in what you're doing, it does a couple things. One, they know exactly why you're doing it. And two, it creates some accountability partners. My daughter is my prime example. 3 weeks after I set out on this, get up in the morning, I'm cooking breakfast. It's Denver again, so it's snowing, it's a little bit cold. My daughter comes downstairs. She's like, Dad, are you going for your walk today? And I said, yeah, I'm going to wait and see what the weather does, but I'll go today. And she, without even hesitating, goes, you mean now? And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I meant. I got my shoes and stuff on and out the door I went. So, but it creates that, and they know, my kids know it's important to me, and they also know the importance that they are to me. So that's a huge key of involving people in those decisions, no matter what your goal is. Let's face it, most people set resolutions for one of three reasons, right? Health, wealth, and relationships. Mm-hmm. But how you look at each of those things, if you look at them for a lifetime instead of a short time, it'll reframe how you're going about it. So instead of saying, I want to lose 10 pounds, if you instead look at it and say, I want to get fit. Now, weight loss is going to come along with it, but getting fit, it can be a lifetime journey. Same thing with wealth, it's not about, I want to make X amount more this year. That could be one of your steps that gets you there, but dollars and cents are not necessarily wealth. And that's what you need to look at, is creating wealth. Same thing with relationships. It's not, taking your spouse out for dinner one more time a month, or, spending more than a half hour with your kids and the conversation is all one syllable answers. But it's truly like getting to understand each other on a level that's beyond just what's on the surface, and just having true conversations with other people. I mean, yeah, they're little people, but they're still people, and you can still talk to them. So that's in a nutshell kind of what the program's about, and how just some of the basics of how we approach it. It's a little bit different than maybe what you've experienced or seen or tried, but it worked for me. And that's what I teach, is like, this is what worked for me. If it resonates with you, awesome. You're halfway there. So.
Yes. And one of the things that you mentioned, I want to kind of point it back out one more time, is it's such a difference when your goals are more long-term, as opposed to those very short, like you said, 10 pounds versus getting fit. Wealth versus, being able to take my spouse out one more time per month. And I say that because throughout the journey of trying to lose 10 pounds or trying to get just a few more dollars in your bank account per month, at some point there's going to be ups and downs throughout that process. And if you're looking at just a short term, if you don't see any weight loss after let's just say 2 pounds, and you still have 8 more to go, and those 8 pounds are just sticking with you and they're not moving, that can cause a lot of people to give up and just completely stop. And so when you said that, I was like, yes, I wanted to just kind of bring it back around and speak on it one more time, because that is a true issue that a lot of people are facing, as being one of the many reasons of why people are not reaching or achieving the goals that they're setting.
Yeah, studies have shown like 85% of people that set New Year's resolutions, 85% give up on their resolution within 6 weeks. 99% are done by April 1st. And the problem is that come that April 1st date, instead of resetting and realigning yourself and going about it a different way, the problem is that majority of people, they get to that and they give up and they think, I'm done. Next year is going to be my year. And it's like, you got 9 months left of the year. Like, it's funny. And I make it a joke, but it's really not. But like, if someone will come to me and say, hey, and this will be the first meeting, they'll be like, I need to lose 10 pounds. I said, I'll tell you what, if that's your goal, then why don't you write your resolution for next year? But instead of losing 10 pounds, write 20. because that's what's going to happen, because you're in the wrong frame of mind. You're in that American habit of I want it now instead of a long term. I think it was the New England Board of Medicine or something. They did this study that said the most productive decade in a human being's life is between ages 60 and 70. The second most productive decade of life is 70 to 80. The third most is 50 to 60. So, you get these people that'll be in their mid 30s, mid 40s, and they'll be like, I'm set in my ways. This is what I got going on. And it takes a little bit to kind of get them to realize, like, dude, if you're 40, you might have another 50 years left of stuck in your ways. And one thing I tell everyone, outset is you do not need permission at any age to retool yourself. And if you want something different, you don't need to ask anyone's permission. You just need to take action and stop talking about it.
Yes, indeed. And also remembering that the beginning of the year, although it's a great restart, timing wise, but you can start a new goal, or you can, restart whatever it is that you want to achieve or you want to begin doing at any point throughout the year. A lot of people focus on New Year's. And I get it, but at the same time, you don't have to waste the 9 months of the year, like you were explaining, just waiting on this one date to come back around. No,
yeah, I mean, if it truly helps you, then go to the printing store, start your new journey, start tomorrow, and go to the printing store and get them to put tomorrow's date, which is the 27th, and have them put that as day one of the year, and then just count the rest of the year. That, because that's all you're doing. It's like you go to Hallmark, you get a new calendar, and that's supposed to be your sign of, oh, this means I should restart. It's like, no, if you have something that you want, just go do it. It's the old adage, like if you are a planner, right? And let's say it's like you're designing a company or a website or something like that, or if it's health or whatever, and you get into the planning mode. Okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and you want everything to be perfect before you go, and you actually launch that idea or launch that program, you're going to be waiting for the rest of your life, because you're stuck in planning mode. And you can always tell the difference between people that take action and people that talk action, is because the action talkers always talk about it. When I lose weight, I'll do this. When the boss gives me this raise, this will happen. When I'm get to this age, this will happen. Or when it's like you're just talking about all this stuff that's going to happen. Make it happen now. Like, there's nothing that says that you can't do something before you get a raise, or before you get the right pair of shoes or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying go walk in flip-flops, but you don't have to wait for Nike's new release to, like, okay, now I can go walk in.
Right. And because that speaks to the not only the mindset but the lifestyle. It's also a lifestyle change. It's a way of life at that point. And so if waiting on the right moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect moment, you'll constantly be waiting. And that's where you then hear those people with their mumbles and their groans of, oh man, da 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 da, so.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, if an opportunity comes to you, no matter what that is, if an opportunity presents itself, or you have a thought that you're going to do something new, and it's natural to have it, the first thought that you're going to have is fear. You're going to be like, ooh, this is new. I don't know if I want to do this. What if I fail? What if I'm not able to do this? What if I start, but then I don't quite make it? And what I tell people is, okay, flip that. What if you do this and it works?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen to your life then? You're going to absolutely change the trajectory of your life. And think about this. You've told me that you're not happy with where you are. That's why you're looking for a change. This is an opportunity. If you don't do it, what life are you going back to? The same one that you said you're not happy with and you want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a natural component and people deal with it differently, but it's just resistance. And there's a lot of ways that you can deal with like that resistance, but the best way to deal with resistance, it's like an author, right? The best way that an author can get past the resistance of getting their book done is sitting down at a typewriter.
Yes.
Because if they don't sit there, nothing's going to get done. But if they sit there and they have a plan, like I'm going to write until I'm done. I'm not saying a set number of pages. I'm not saying a number of chapters, but if you sit down, you're like, I'm going to write until I'm done, and you do that every day, by the end, you're going to have your book, your novel, your essay, whatever, because that is the biggest aggression towards overcoming resistance is action.
Yes. And I'll add on rewards. So
Yep.
one thing that I work with my clients on with coaching is sometimes you just have to, kind of trick yourself, so to speak. You have to play those games with with yourself. And if that means rewarding, giving yourself some sort of reward by doing this thing, or once you complete this activity or this task, then do it. If that's something you have to implement just to get started, just to
Mm-hmm.
get the momentum going, then do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you set let's say you're setting a goal where you're like, I just want to get fit, and when you get to the stage, it's amazing, and I've seen it so many times. Like people will say, like, I want to get fit, and I'll have them on a Zoom and say like week 3 of their class, and they're there, they're attentive, they're present, they're listening, but they're there. And then I see them show up the next time and their shoulders are back, their energy is different, their how they talk about stuff, they're more animated. And it's because it's the goal of every program that you'll ever see out there, and especially mine. But at some point, you're going to transition from whatever your goal is as something you're doing. It's going to transition into who you are. And for me, like when I was walking, my transition became when my brother, my sister, and my parents stopped asking me how much weight I lost and stopped asking me like what I was doing. Because I would just show up at like a family dinner or whatever, and they wouldn't ask anymore because it was just, this is me now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you feel that transition, God, it's amazing. Like your energy is so high, and you all of a sudden your head's up, and you're just looking for like all these opportunities. Like people will be like halfway through, and they'll be like, "What's next?" I'm like, "Well, let's keep on this path for at least a couple of weeks." But yeah, that's good that you're looking for it, and don't turn it down if it comes. But you can just tell, and it's I mean, it's an overused term, but it's invigorating to like experience that and then see it in others when their mind shift has become like who they are, and it's become permanent. And they're no longer in, the autopilot seat. They're driving the car, and they're like, "No, man, I want to go left. I'm going left." And they don't, all of a sudden the sky's the limit for them, and it's awesome to see.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So let's talk about the how do you help your clients when it comes to focusing on and achieving life goals? Let's go a little bit deeper with that.
Yeah, so it's very simple. The program that I've developed, it's not like, a worksheet that's here, fill out these 99 questions and you'll get this or that. It's literally 4 things. Okay. There's only 4 things that are printed on this worksheet. And it's very simple. It's what, why not, and what's next. And your what is your goal. That's, and we talk about like, don't think about it in terms of short time, think about it in lifetime, because your goal should be something that not only can last a lifetime, but will impact the rest of your lifetime and have a big impact. And so they, develop the goal that way. The second one is the toughest one. It's why. And that's where, like, every fifth grade elementary teacher tells us, ask why 7 times to get to the right answer. And it's truly, yes, I understand this requires some courage and some deep inner looking and inner thought, because you really got to dig into, why is it important that this is my goal? And it's not, if it's wealth, it's not because I want a Ferrari. You haven't gone anywhere close to deep enough, right? But start digging in and asking yourself, why is it important? Who else is this important to? Why, what led me to wanting this in my life? Is it my parents were this way or something? And all of a sudden you start getting in, and you'll get right to that bottom, and ask yourself one more time. And if there's nothing there, then you've found it. If there is one more, then ask again. And if just when you can't find another level of depth, you've found your true inspiration. And that's inside you, not outside you. The why not is very simple. It's what's prevented you from achieving what you wanted in the past? What's held you back? Is it fear? Is it resistance? Whatever. And if it's something that's brand new to you, like, take some time to think about, what am I going to face along the path if I'm doing this? And what you're doing is you're laying out your course of, these are things that I know have held me back, or things that I've faced. And you can come up with a game plan. Think of it like you're the Titanic, not a speedboat. Because if you identify the things that you know are going to happen, as soon as you feel that coming on, it's the Titanic. You can just course correct miles before you ever get there. Whereas the speedboat's going to be like, oh God, that was it. No, and who knows what's going to happen, right? So that's just identifying those things ahead of time, so you know what to expect. And then the last one is what's next. And that's where, I equate it to, like, I live in Denver, so I'll use it, but you climb to the top of a mountain, right? And you're standing there and you think, I've reached the top. And you look around and it's beautiful, and all you see is all these other peaks. And whereas if you're in the wrong mindset, you think of, oh God, look at all these obstacles. If you're in the right mindset, you think, look at all these opportunities. And that's the biggest difference. Now, I know that skips a step, and that's the how. It's not printed. I have people flip it over, and what I have them do is, in the lower left-hand corner, write down just simple word, ladder. And then about halfway over on the page, write down the word floor. Now, the reason I have people write it at the bottom is, keep in mind, we want you to level up your life, not level down your life. So we're going to build up. That's why you're writing your goals going up the page. And the floor is there. So people's biggest fear is, what if I get too high and then something happens? I got to fall all this way. That's where the floor comes in, because as you establish these new levels of yourself and of what you're doing and why you're doing it, as you're establishing each level, the floor is coming right along with you. So it doesn't matter how high you get, the furthest you're going to fall is about a foot. And that, you're going to pause along the way, because all your only goal is to get 1% better every single day. And sometimes getting better is taking a pause to make sure that you are on the correct course, make any corrections that are needed, and then get going on it. That is progress. And that's getting a little bit better, because you've taken a pause to maintain your clarity on where you're ultimately going. And so I said, like, the worksheet is very simple. It's not easy. I'm not sitting here saying blue or red pill. It's simple because filling out a goal sheet should not be the hard part. That should be the easy part, because the work that you're going to put in, that's going to be hard, especially depending on where your goals are. If it's something brand new or if it's something that you haven't done in a long time, it's going to require time and effort on your half. But the worksheet is very simple to fill out, and it needs to be, because it's going to give you clarity. If it was like 99 points, do you think 99 things to fill out adds clarity or adds a big giant thunderstorm cloud? Right? You want a clear path and a clear vision of where you're going.
Yes, you've said so much. I'm glad I took notes, but I'm going to only hit a few a few things.
Luckily, this is recorded.
Yes, because I can go back, right? Look,
Yeah.
so yes, goals are important. We've kind of, I kind of mentioned a few things about goals earlier, but I definitely want to hit on why. I actually almost brought it up before we started talking about how do you help with people focusing and achieving their goals. But I'm glad I didn't. I didn't know that that was one of your steps on your worksheet. But for the why, yes, that is so important. If a person does not know their why, if they cannot answer the question clearly and without a lot of ambiguity within their response, then if they cannot do that, then it does make it that much more difficult to achieve said goal. And so
Mm-hmm.
finding out and figuring out what is your why. Why do you want to achieve this thing? Why do you need this to happen? Why do you need this change within yourself, within your life? And with
Yeah.
that why, is the reason it's so important is because when it gets difficult, because it will at some point along the way throughout the process, when it gets difficult, you will have that why as your reminder of, okay, let me keep going, because this is the bigger picture, or this is that thing that I really need or really want. And you've already done the work ahead of time. So therefore, when the going gets tough, you're already ready. So I love
Right.
that.
Yeah, you're not going to fail your why.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But motivation can be fleeting. It can be non-motivational. I'll give you the perfect example. I saw a thing one time. So motivation, it comes to us in all different forms, right? And it could be an email, or it could be a thing on Facebook or something that's like a thing. It's got a saying on it. And you're like, oh, that's cool. So I was sitting here one day and I looked, and it was this picture of this like fjord in Norway or something. It's got huge steep peaks and a beautiful lake down below. And on the one end, there's a rock that sticks like out over like a 2,000-foot cliff, basically. And people take pictures there all the time, sitting on the edge, standing on the edge, stuff like that. And it had some saying on the bottom, which I never read because I'm afraid of falling. So I looked at it and I was like, not motivated. And that's how fleeting it can be. If you see something that doesn't speak to you, and you're relying solely on your motivation for your daily kind of get going, it can be fleeting. Whereas if you look inside yourself, like, I know I'm not failing my kids, and my getting fit thing, it's changed because I've gotten fit. So my goal is a little bit different, but it's still with them as my inspiration. It's just a little bit different, but I'm not going to fail them at this either. So it's just think of it that it's that fire in your gut that, like, the more progress you make, the hotter that thing gets.
Mm. Mm. Yes, yes, yes. Ah. And the other part about the why section on your worksheet, you were talking about it's 7 levels of asking yourself why. And
Mhm.
and just for an example for our listeners, if someone, let's just use finances for an example. If someone says, oh, yeah, I want to earn 6 figures. Okay, then ask yourself why. Well, because I want to be able to buy, whatever house or car I want. Okay, but why? Well, because I grew up not knowing or not having the transportation or not having a stable place to live. So the deeper
So
you
then so why is it important that you provide that wasn't provided for you? And then
yes,
you keep going. And then eventually, like with finances especially, they'll get to a point where they've identified this is why this is important. And when I get to this level, I got all this. And then you ask them the question, okay, so now you're making this money. What are you going to do with it?
yep,
Like, what are you going to do with it? Like, we've established why it's important to you. It could be, a family and you want to change the direction of your lineage of your family into a different realm. That's a great why. But when you get there, what are you going to do with it?
yes,
Like, are you going to invest in it? Are you going to like share with your kids? Are you going to go on better vacation? Like, what are you going to do with this extra money? Because people tend to not think about that, even if they're going the old route of I want to make 10 grand more this year. They have no idea what they're going to do with the 10 grand. They just know they want. And it's like you can ask them that question. They're like, "Oh, I'll just have it." It's like you gotta you gotta have some kind of plan. Otherwise, make the money, write me a check, and we're fine. Yeah.
because so many people blow it. They'll end up spending it before they really realize that they have had it. A lot of people earn a lot more than what they think they do. They
Mm-hmm.
just spend it before they actually have assigned each dollar to something, to
Mm-hmm.
some account, to some investment, to some bucket of whatever it is. And I'm going to do a shameless plug here where a lot of everything that we've been talking about today, and I'm bringing it in because we're talking about the why and what you just brought in. Okay, you reach this goal, then what? Now what? What are you going to do with this money or these finances now that you've achieved it? And adding in the why, then I can tack on the other part, generosity. So what I'm plugging is my actual product here. It's an audio coaching product where it talks about what's your passcode, and what it is. It teaches people to living the best version of their lives and being the best version of themselves. And it talks about in depth about your why being as important as it is, and then the things that you do want or the things that you do achieve, what are you going to do with it? And it talks about generosity, the importance of giving back, the importance of being of service to other people, other organizations, whatever it may be. So definitely, if whoever is listening right now, if you have not taken or gotten your copy of this, look in the description. There is a discount code from this particular podcast that you can take advantage of getting this and just really helping to achieve everything that we've been talking about, in addition to everything that Todd is sharing as well with his course and his program. Also, he's going to, at the end of this recording, he's going to also share other resources that he has available for you. But I definitely wanted to take that opportunity to plug that product. So now let's talk about the inspiration, the fact that it comes from within. And I'm so happy that you said the difference between inspiration versus motivation. As coaches and as speakers, we get the label motivational speaker, motivational speaker. And I'm like, no, I'm not a motivational speaker, because for me, like you said, motivation comes from the external. It feels good in the moment, but when you go home and it's just you, then
Yep.
what? So talk about the
Well,
inspiration aspect.
yeah, it's like motivational speakers. They're the ones that it's lights and rock and roll, and they got the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders out there, and they talk for a couple hours. And as soon as it's over, like the majority of the people go straight to the bar and they forgot everything that they ever talked about, and they're like, who are we listening to again? I don't even, but that's true. It's so your inspiration is it's it's truly finding yourself and like what drives your engine on a daily basis. And it could, people, you can equate it to like, okay, you go to work every day. Is it because you have to or you want to? And if they're like, well, I have to go to work. Okay, well, why do you have to go to work? And then they start getting into providing for families and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, so your family's important. Why is your family so important that you have this job that pays you whatever. And you start digging into it. And, a lot of times for a lot of people out there, and don't be embarrassed if you go through the course and you get to this point, but discovering your true why, it can be and it should be a little bit of an emotional journey. Because if you're asking that question enough times, you're truly you're just peeling back layers of the onion to truly find like where is your core values, and like what do you value the most, and what is the one thing that no matter what is going on in the world, you're not gonna fail. And some people that has led to them taking a job because they're comfortable with what they're making and it's not their best life. Well, there's other ways to go about stuff. And I'm not sitting here saying everyone go quit their job and do something online. It's not that. It's just there's different alternatives to kind of going about it. And as long as it goes through your core values and it doesn't, conflict with anything there, and it's that at the heart of the onion of just the most important thing that motivates and holds you accountable to doing what you do on a daily basis, that's what you need to find. Because if it is family, or if it is a change of trajectory of your lineage, you need to figure out like, well, why do I want something different than my grandparents and my parents gave to me? And how exactly do I want to change this or adjust this? Or, what's got me? Why am I looking to better myself from the status quo? And you'll see them all along, your buddies. They'll be like, oh, you got a pretty good life, man. Just stay with it. It's like, that's the kiss of death. It's like, you don't have to. And that's where that's what you truly need to discover, is the heart of the onion that's deepest inside of you and drives your daily, like, just responsibilities and values, and especially your core values.
Yes. To add on to that, one of the things that I talk to people about also is like, what's your one thing, or what's that one thing that you, for me, and I know that the one thing has been used for different reasons in different industries, but for me, when I ask a person to discover and figure out and find that one thing, what it means is to find that moment in your past that was very difficult, something you thought you could never achieve, never accomplish, or never overcome. And present day, you're able to look back on it and say, wow, that was tough when I was going through it. Now on the other side of it, okay, I see, what did you use to get over it? What did you use to get through that moment? What did you use internally? What did you use to push you every single day to keep going no matter what? And so I talk about it as that one thing for people to remember again in those moments where it's kind of like, do I really want to do this? Or, oh man, I've given it my all. Well, have you? Push a little bit harder, dig a little bit deeper, and remind yourself of that other thing when you were going through it, and you thought that you had reached your limit, and you saw that you didn't. You saw that you still had more in your tank. You saw that you did have more stretchability in your capacity. So the one thing I'm adding in this moment after you were just saying what you were saying.
Yeah, it's funny because I had a book delivered Amazon like a week ago, and the title is The Power of One More. And that's exactly what you're talking about is, just when you think that you're at your limit, do one more, because you never know, like that one more might be the tipping point that all of a sudden, oh God, now you're putting on the brakes because it's a runaway train. And you're like, I don't know what's going on. And, you're just holding on because the progress starts to come easier. But if you wouldn't have taken that one more, you would have been stuck on the wrong side of the mountain, sitting there going, I don't think I can make this up. But if you take one more, you never know when that one more is that's going to be the tipping point that tilts everything. And so, it's an important lesson. And, regardless of how you talk about it or, what phrasing, that is important. It's vitally important that, if you find yourself in a situation to where you don't think that you can make any more progress, or that, well, this must be my best life. It's not what I pictured, but this is as far as I can get. Do one more. Because if you dreamed it in your head, or you had that ambition in your heart and your soul to write it down as, this is what I want, is my best life, don't let anything get in your way, and just keep one more. And that's the best way of looking at it is, people talk about like failures all the time. What if I try this and I fail? Or, this guy, he tried to run a marathon, he failed. No, I actually think in the history of the world that no one's ever actually failed. They've just had a lot of learning opportunities. Edison said it best, right? He went through thousands of light bulbs. And someone asked him, like, you failed all these times with these light bulbs. What kept you going? And he's like, I didn't fail once. I just found 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
Yes.
But you have to have that shift of, yeah, it is going to be tough. And when you hit those tough points, don't look at it as failure. Look at it as an opportunity to learn something about yourself, about your path, about your journey, and then how you get around it, and learn from how you got around it and utilize that the next time. Because, and unless you're like, on your deathbed and you're sitting there, there's going to be tough times pretty much up until that day. And you're going to face things, and all those learning experiences that you've garnered over your decades on earth, they will pay off in the long run. Because when you see those tough times come up, it's not going to be the first time, and you're going to have a game plan as to, okay, this is what I did last time.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Take notes throughout that process. Take notes. So therefore you're not repeating the same thing, but you can also kind of go through the process of elimination, and you have notations on, okay, I've already done this. Let me try this. Let me tweak it by this much more. I think is it WD-40, it got its name because it took 40 chances to get the formula right, or to get it right. WD-40. So yeah, keep on going. One more, just try it one more time. The power of one. I'm gonna have to look that book up. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Good deal. So I don't know about you, but since we are in the same industry, we can talk about things, life, relationships, mindset for hours. But I'm gonna go ahead and transition us into what I like to call my fun segment. And what that is where I'm just going to ask you something completely out of the box, something random. It has nothing to do with what we've been talking about today. So I want you to have fun with it, okay?
I was told there'd be no test, but okay, go ahead.
Sorry. So one of my questions are, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Actually, this one's really pretty easy. It's, like if you're out to dinner, or, you're whatever, if you're sitting around someplace where there's a lot of other people, especially like at dinner, and I'll see a couple, and I don't know if they're first date, last date, boyfriends, or boyfriend, girlfriend, married, whatever, but they're obviously together. There's two of them, they sit down at a table together, and within 5 minutes, they're both on their phones. It bothers me, because whatever you want to, it doesn't affect me. But at the same time, I'm like, why are you guys together? Because you find so little interest in the person sitting across from you, that you checking ESPN for a game update is higher on your list than talking to the person that you brought to dinner or that you're at dinner with. So yeah, that's definitely my biggest one.
Got it. And you probably see that quite a bit these days.
Well, it's sad. It really is. It's like I've told my kids, I'm like, look, they're at the age, I'm like, when you go on a date, like put your phone in your pocket and leave it there. There's nothing more important.
Awesome. Well, thank you for answering that question. My next question is, what motto do you live by?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Um, you know, I think it kind of has to do with like coaching and everything like that. And I guess the motto is like, I want to have the biggest impact on society that I possibly can in my role. And that drives a lot of what I do, just with business, um, with my kids, and just those lessons. But I don't want to leave this earth without knowing that I have had the biggest impact on the most people that I possibly can in a positive way.
I like it. That's deep. I like it. I like it. Good stuff. Okay, I'm gonna ask you one more question. Okay, if you had to sing karaoke,
Oh God.
oh yeah, but what song would you pick? You don't have to sing unless you want to, but what song would
No.
you pick?
Just I'll say this, just because I'm thinking about it, because I saw something on TV earlier, it would be Great Balls of Fire from Top Gun. And no, I don't play the piano.
No.
I'd just be standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for entertaining us and playing along with our fun segment. So, this
Yes.
is now the time where, as we start bringing everything to a close, I do want to give you the opportunity to share any final notes or thoughts or another nugget that you may not have shared and you want to leave us with. So, give us a final takeaway.
Yeah, it's not necessarily like a nugget. I just think that if you remember back to when you were 5, 6, 7 years old, right? And your development in life, and you had friends talking and you saw all these things. And in those moments, like, you thought about what your life kind of would be, and it could be what your parents had or your friends had. And you go on these great vacations or have this job or something like that. Like, as you're growing up, every kid wanted to be a fireman. I get it. That's fine. But, as you thought about it, like, all this stuff that's in a little kid's head, because they have no ceiling, right? They have no limiting beliefs. They're just, unless society is putting on them, but they have no limiting beliefs. And so the sky is the limit to them. And if you look at your life as an adult now, if you were to run into the 6 or 7-year-old version of yourself, what would their reaction be to the life that you have? Would they be like, hey, you're doing it? Or would they be like, what are you doing? Because I didn't dream at 7 years old of this. And so if you can answer that honestly, but you don't know how to get there, that's where like, hey, you can, no matter what age you are, you do not need permission to retool yourself. And I do it once every 6 months, is a self audit. And it's just, it's not a financial thing or anything like that. It's just a self audit of, who am I? What do I stand for? Is everything I'm doing adhere to my core values? What's important to me? The things that are important, the people that are important, am I doing my best by them? But it's a valuable thing for everyone to do. And if you don't want to do it every 6 months, do it once a year. Hey, put it on that new calendar on July 27th, which is the first day of your year. But just do it, because if you don't know yourself or what you stand for or what's there, then you're not going to achieve more, because you don't know where you're coming from. So that'd probably be the little, I guess, nugget or kind of something like that. But besides I didn't come up with it, but it's a really simple thing. I call it a 5 and 5 rule. And again, I did not come up with this, but if you take 5 minutes before you go to bed at night and 5 minutes after you wake up in the morning, and instead of grabbing your phone and scrolling, if you just take that 5 minutes and think about all the positive things in your life, all the things that you're grateful for, and they could be big, they could be small. It could be, what, I'm thankful and I'm fortunate that I've got 2 happy, healthy kids that are well adjusted, and I've got a job, and it pays to keep a roof over my head, and it could be little things like that, or it could be, what, today's my day, I'm starting my journey, and you're going to do that, but do it for a week, and then just see how your days go after a week of doing that. Because I can promise you one thing, well, not promise, but 99% of you're going to do that, and it's going to become a part of your daily habit, because you're going to feel better. You're going to start your day off right. You're going to end your day right. You're going to sleep better. And everyone out there, I mean, doesn't matter what kind of coach you are, it all boils down to one thing. They're always like, the first thing, most important, get a good night's sleep.
Yes.
And it's true. But if you end the day positive and thankful, you will sleep better. And then you wake up and you start your day that way, you're gonna have a endless string of positive good days.
100%. Yes. Starting and ending your day that way helps you be more in control of your day, which will then help a person start to realize that life doesn't just have to happen to them. Life can happen for them.
Yep.
And I'm big on individuals being in control of their lives, being in the driver's seat of their life.
Yeah. Don't be on autopilot. It's don't be the fan on the sidelines going, there goes my adulthood.
Yes.
Like, control it, and you can, and you should. I mean, just imagine, they always talk about the 1%ers, and that could be wealth, or it could be like success or whatever. But just imagine the different place that we would live in if it just went to 2% or 3%. You're talking millions of people now that are embracing, like, getting after their goals. They're taking action. They're doing things to make their lives better and improved. And it's not just the 1, it's 2, it's 3, it's, it kind of grows from there. And it doesn't matter where you come from with a hand that you've been dealt, you can still create your own best life.
Yep. It is possible. That's one thing that a lot of people have to realize, that it is possible. They have to believe that it's possible. So yeah. Ooh, a lot of information here. I know you all have taken a lot of valuable information that has been shared, a lot of valuable content from this episode. And I want to make sure that I give you, Todd, the opportunity to let us know, how can we support you? Where can our listeners find you? Your program, if it's active, if you have spots left, whatever it is, please share that information now, because this is how we are going to be able to support you.
Yeah, for sure. So if you want to know just a little bit more about, like, my story and stuff like that, my website's very simple. It's just www.project9life.com. It's got, just some stories and some stuff that's on there. But if you want to get involved and you want to talk to me about like just where you've been, what you want, it's, and figure out if we can help you, just go to go.project9life.com. And what it'll do, you'll watch a video, you'll go to a scheduling link after you fill out some basic information. It'll take you to a scheduling link. Just click on a time that works for you and that you'll show up to. And then it's a free phone call. And it'll be 20, 30 minutes of just figuring out like how we can help, where you're at, where you want to go, and what this looks like. As well, if you mention that you saw me on Nrgy show, then for the 8-week program, which is kind of my base program, if you mention that you saw me on Nrgy show, then I'll give you 25% off of the going rate for that, just as a benefit and a thank you to you for having me here, and to all the people out there that are watching, thanks for laughing at my jokes.
Awesome. Make sure you go support Todd. Check out those links. I'll have the links in the description, but make sure you go check out his website, project9life.com, or go.project9life.com, and get the 25% discount off of the 8-week program. Do not miss out on that opportunity. Thank you so much, Todd, for your time today, for your knowledge, and just everything that you've imparted in our listeners. And for my listeners, if any of you would like to be a guest speaker, please reach out to me. You can connect with me on my YouTube channel or on any of your favorite podcast platforms at Nrgy Speaks Live, or you can go directly to my website, nrgyspeakslive.com. Well, you know how we do. Please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, or just share this episode out to anyone that you believe would be able to benefit from everything that Todd and I discussed today. Well, as you know, when you master your mind, when you master your emotions, and when you master your assignment, you can live your purpose and live on purpose. Until next time, bye-bye.